The Twilight Tear by Kendra, Rylee, Aska, and Taylor.
The United States was allied with Europe and made plans to cross over into Britain through a channel. Once Europe agreed, the United States began sending shipments of supplies and troops over to the United Kingdom. The United States and Great Britain then continued by invading northern Africa and Italy. They were successful. Northern France, the Allied powers wanted to continue by taking over Breton ports and then eventually invade into Germany. Their target was where Germany's main industrial power was concentrated. However, Germany counterattacked and the operation failed. At the same time, a Third Army was moving their way across the scene in order to eliminate the chances of having a German defense line formed. The plan later changed and became a direct attack on Germany. Rapid advance to the east made the supply and demand uneven. There was not enough supplies for the armies marching forward. Southern France. While the battle near the scene was taking place, a Seventh Army was invading the Mediterranean seas in France. The objectives for this plan were to prevent the reinforcement of German troops and provide communication for the Allied powers through the Mediterranean. Advances north were rapid, and eventually forces from the south continued towards Germany in order to keep in contact with the Third Army. However, there were not enough supplies to carry out the plans that the army had. This slowed the Allies' plans tremendously. Finally, in December of 1944, Hitler launched an attack in order to stop the Allied powers. This became known as the Battle of Bulge. As a result, Germany became scattered and surrendered. The Battle of Bulge happened on December 16, 1944 to January 25, 1945. The battle was fought on an 80-mile front in southern Belgium. It was the largest battle the United States had fought in. When the United States was in the battle, their role was just being an Allied power in the Battle of Bulge. One pilot on the Allied side was Major George E. Preddy Jr. from Greensboro, North Carolina. He was a leading active ace in the European theater of operations. On Christmas Day, I led 10 of my P-51s on a regular patrol. We were directed to a formation of enemy planes and became scattered. Even though it was difficult, I managed to take down 2 BF-109s. My wingman, Lieutenant James Carty, and I were then led to an unknown number of bandits near Leech. We saw FW-190 on the deck and decided to go after him treetop height. As we zoomed over American ACAC batteries, we were hit by friendly ground fire. Preddy was killed near Langerwehe, Germany, most likely from the bullets from the Quad 50s on December 25, 1944. He showed endless loyalty to the men that he flew with and an American attitude toward air-to-air fighting. At the end of the war, George was credited with 32.5 victories, 27.5 of those being aerial victories. Background and history on the Twilight Tear. It was built by NAA at Englewood Plant in 1944. It was delivered to the U.S. Army Air Force on December 1944. The plane that was in the museum is called Twilight Tear by Lieutenant Hubert Davis, the pilot of the plane. He named it after a racing horse, the Twilight Tear. It was also delivered to Royal Swedish Air Force on June 17, 1949. 3 Nazi symbols symbolize 3 wings for the plane. It was slightly crooked, but no one knows why it is crooked. Maybe they painted it wrong, or they just wanted to mock the Germans. Engine is a Rolls-Royce Packard V1657. It has 1494 horsepower, and for war emergency, its horsepower can go to 1720. Its empty weight is about 7,100 pounds, and its loaded weight is 11,600 pounds. For dimensions, it has a wingspan of 37 feet, and its propeller diameter is 11 feet 2 inches. On one plane, it contains 6.5 caliber M2 Browning machine guns and has 2 1,000-pound bombs. In battle, the plane uses bombers, escorts, a tactical fighter, and high-altitude bomber to escort duties. Specifically for the Battle of the Bulge, they used the streamlined fuselage and thin laminar flow wing in the airplane, made it able to escort bombers to Berlin and back. Germany waited for bad weather to launch an attack, which backfired on them. Because it cleared up and the Allied powers were able to use aircraft to launch instead of ground troops, the Allied powers were Britain, France, and US, which in Hitler's mind he thought the Allied powers weren't good enough to defeat Germany's army. Germany's plan was to split the Allied powers apart by attempting to surprise attack northwestern Europe, trying to make a repeat of what the Germans had done 3 times before. Europe wanted to defend themselves by using counterattacking methods. This ended in large casualties. To have the ability to make this happen, Hitler needed to split the US 12th Army and the British 21st Army. In other words, Germany needed to create a bulge. This was one of Hitler's last major battles of offense in World War II. The battle officially ended when the American troops had countered the bulge and gained control of their own lines on January 16, 1945. The aftermath of the battle for the Allied powers was 20,876 Allied soldiers were killed, 42,893 were wounded, 23,554 were captured or missing, and for the Germans, they had a total loss of 15,652, 41,600 were wounded, 27,582 were captured or missing, and lost weapons or tanks.